Hello, welcome back to Just in Case You Forgot. Um, my husband passed away this year, January 20th, 2022. And it is my goal right now to hold my shit together so I can make it through this video. My husband started this channel because I prompted him to. Um, he was struggling with depression. At the time, I wasn't aware that he was suffering from PTSD. Um, I knew what it was because I had suffered it for a long time because of the abuse from my ex-husband. And that was like many years ago. So, um, he would wake up in the middle of the night. He would be screaming and he would talk in his sleep and yell in his sleep, and he would thrash about and he would hit. Um, Not on purpose. He left bruises on me very seldom, and when I would wake him up, usually by hitting him back because it shocked me awake, um, he was mortified and he would start sleeping on the couch or in the living room until he figured out what was triggering it. But he never really talked about it to me for a long time. And that was in the beginning of our marriage. Now, so I believe in therapy. He had a very strong opinion about psychologists and psychiatrists and sociologists and any type of therapist. He was strongly set against. He thought it was great for me, but if I talked about anything personal with between me and him, he was obviously upset about it. Later, I found out why he felt that way, but um, in the beginning, when I started therapy, he didn't. So, even though I suggested therapy for him, he never was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So I thought that starting a YouTube channel might be something where, he could talk to other people. And it was kind of like anonymous. It wasn't like going in and talking to someone face to face. And which he had a real big problem with crowds and people, although he could talk to just about anybody like one on one, as long as they were a stranger that he was never going to see again. He was a big talker. Um, Maybe I'll share that later in a different video. But like I said, Marty loved this channel. And although he did not post as often as he would have liked to, because let's just face it, life gets in the way. People, i.e. me, get sick and things in life just happen. So when Marty came down with what we thought was just like upper respiratory stuff, and he had congestive heart failure, which was managed and it wasn't that bad. So we just figured he had like emphysema or something because he smoked for years and years. But we just thought that's how it was, and it just got worse and worse. And I have a little finger pulse ox, and I checked it, and it was really low. So I called the paramedics, and it turned out he had COVID. And when he called me and said he had COVID, I nearly dropped to the floor because I was like, "What?" You know. Because I mean, we live in a small apartment, which is messy. Sorry about that. But I'm dealing with some shit. Uh, and Marty was a very touchy feely guy. He's always in my face, and very kissy and lovey and very affectionate. Sometimes to an annoying factor, which I miss. Um, so the fact that I didn't get COVID astounds me, shocks me, perplexes me. I don't get it, don't understand it. I'm thankful most of the time I didn't get it and I'm still alive. However, there are days when I wish that I would have gotten COVID and I was with him now. No, I'm not suicidal today. Um, I'm just saying I miss my person. You know, I get off topic. My train of thought derails frequently, so if you watch any further videos on his channel, you will see that this happens a lot. But anyway, I digress. So, like I said, Marty loves the channel. He loves his subscribers. Doesn't have a lot of subscribers, although I tried to boost interest in his channel, but I decided to keep this channel up because I felt the message he was trying to get out there was an important one. He was very pro veteran mental health. Whatever he could do to help his brother soldiers and sister soldiers find services that he knew of or encourage them to seek help for their mental health, whether they had seen combat or not, because not everybody who has served in the military has served in combat, but maybe, something has happened in training or, when they do their, training in the field. There's lots of variables. I was never in the military. I was in ROTC when I was in high school, and you can roll your eyes right now. I have been ill since I was 19, 18. I was going to go in the Air Force, but my body had different ideas. I got sick my senior year, so I was not able to go into the military and defend my country. However, I've supported my country in other ways and my military in other ways. I support my military soldiers by dating them. I love military men. I have dated almost exclusively, with the exception of my ex-husband, men in the military. And that's just because I find them to be entertaining. They have a view that is somewhat like slash hero and bad boy mixed in one. Plus, most of them are quite gentlemen. Most men in the military I have found, whether it's someone that I find attractive or not, will say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, whether I was 20 or my current age. They would open doors for you, you know, very polite. Now, of course, there were the, oddball where they would get tanked up at a bar and raise all kind of ruckus, but isn't that the fun of going to a bar? I mean, anyway, like I said, train of thought derailed. Okay, so, and FYI, Marty knew about how I feel about this subject, and I think it tickled him on some occasion. He was always threatening to go get his uniform. Well, so I decided to keep his channel going because he was really proud of it. He was proud of what he did. He was always asking me, "Did you watch the video? Did you watch the video? Did you watch the video?" All the time, it's like, "Yeah, it's really good." Sometimes I lied and I didn't watch the video, which made it really difficult when after he passed, I started watching all of his videos, and I came across one that he had said in the video. I don't remember what he was talking about, but I think it was like health. It might have been my cancer scare. And he said that he just wanted to grab a hold of me and never let me go. And that, it shook me. I was definitely shook. And that kind of rendered me incapacitated for a couple of weeks. I have a hard time grieving. I don't grieve like other people. I want to do a video for this channel on that. So I decided not to take the videos, not to take the channel down, because I want to leave it up, because I think the messages that he put out, the things that he said, are important. They're important when he said it. They're important now, and they will be important in the future. The messages are timeless. The thoughts are timeless. He talks about depression, PTSD. He talks about the importance of getting help. He even talks briefly about people asking him if he's suicidal. So, when I decided to keep the channel up, he had just passed away. So, I went back and forth. I privated the whole thing, then I would unprivate, then I would private again, and then I would unprivate it. And then, about 2 months ago, I decided that because I have so much experience with mental health personally, and a lot of the things that he talked about on his channel that I want to keep going with, I deal with daily: depression, anxiety. I'm bipolar. Um, I have PTSD, but not from the military, obviously. Well, sort of, but not really. I have decided that I will be taking over his channel, and I will be talking about the same things that he did. And I decided to keep this channel going in his honor, There's two things that I think everyone should know about Marty. One, he loved the fact that he was in the army, that his family was in the military. He just loved the military. I mean, yes, the different branches would tease each other, who was better, but in his family, there were different branches served. And he was just proud that he was in the military and that he had followed his father's footsteps, who was also in the army, who served many tours in Vietnam. So that was one thing. And the second thing was, and the most important thing for Marty was that he was highly patriotic. Um, I had never met anyone as patriotic as Marty. I love my country and I am very patriotic. Like I said, I was going to go in the military, and my oldest brother, Thomas, or as I call him, Tommy, which he doesn't like, he was briefly referred to himself as the Thomas, which I didn't like. Um, so he was in the army, um, the National Guards, for from the time he was like 18 till he was like really old. I can't remember when he got out of the army, but it was recently. Um, so I've always been really proud of my country. I'm not going to say I've been proud of some of the choices that our government has made or the people have made for the government, as in our elected officials. I don't talk politics. That's my only nod. I don't talk politics. I don't talk religion. I do, however, talk mental health. So, the things that you do need to know about me is um, I'm grieving. Um, I suffer from mental illness, just like a lot of the country. Um, Even though it is for a long time has been like hush hush, swept under the rug. I do not hide from the fact that I have mental illness. It used to be mental illness was like if you were schizophrenic or if you were like, oh, she's crazy. She's nuts. She's psycho. She's psychopath. No. I'm bipolar, which means that with my mood swings, I have horrible, horrible, horrible mood swings. And I go from one degree to another. I get really manic, which means that I'm basically like, and then I get really depressed where I'm like, kind of like a sloth, They're just like that. And I'm one of those people who can be driven and at the same time not. I have drive to do these things. So A, B, and C. I really want to do those. That's my drive. That's my goal. But instead of going for it, I just want to sit in my little hole in my girl cave, which is like this space right here, and watch YouTube videos. I don't want to eat. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to take my pills. I just want to be here, listen to music, watch YouTube videos, and zone out and just forget about my life and forget about the fact that in the last 5 years, my mom died of cancer, and my husband died of COVID, and my grandma died of COVID, and now I'm all alone. And I just wish that I could feel my feelings. But that's not healthy, and that's not what I want to do. And that's not what I want to teach you. My ultimate goal is to teach you things that I have learned, and maybe you can teach me things that you have learned. So, most of the time we will talk about mental health. Now, I do have my own channel where I talk about, girl stuff. I talk about makeup and hair, and I do talk a lot about diet because, as Marty has mentioned before, I was morbidly obese for majority of my 30s and 40s. I wasn't just rotund, I was morbidly obese. My highest weight was 400 pounds. I was extremely depressed, and with that comes quite a bit of suicidal ideation. So there's that. I had surgery, and now, even though I keep losing weight, I'm clinically considered obese. You really can't tell because from here, you're just seeing this area. But the rest of me is a work in progress. So I hope you join me and continue to walk this path that Marty started for us. Marty might not be here physically in body, although he is in a box on my bed right now. He might not be here physically, but his spirit lives on through the words he has spoken and the actions he has taken, and through the many lives that he has affected. He loved people, and he had a great compassion. He had a great compassion for people. He loved his family. He loved his children. He loved his grandchildren. Even though things started out rocky with his youngest daughter, Sandy Dawn, he was so proud of her, more than anyone could ever know. I mean, she married a bad man, very bad man, that hurt her immensely. And of course, she made the mistake that most women do. I mean, I made that mistake with my ex-husband. As women, we tend to, we're fixers, and we're going to do a video on that for sure. And Marty was proud of all of you. He was proud of you for trying. He was proud of you for getting up in the morning and putting your feet on the floor. He was proud of you for putting your feet in those boots and getting ready for your day. Getting that cup of coffee and thinking, one more day. I'm here. I'm going to embrace the day. Something good may or may not happen, but it is what it is. And that's what Marty was all about. Something may or may not happen that's good today, but I'm going to try. I'm not saying I'm going to try to make something bad good or whatnot. He just wanted to try. He wanted me to try, he wanted his kids to try, and he wanted you to try. What did he want you to try? Try to breathe. Try to exhale, inhale. Sometimes all you have to do when you're having that moment, you know the one. So if you're a mom, you're having that moment when your 3-year-old, you're sleeping, and your 3-year-old climbs in the cabinet and gets the Crisco out, pulls it down, and then proceeds to smear it all over you and your hair, and then maybe gets flour and throws it all over the kitchen. And then you wake up and you're mad at your 3-year-old. Well, you can choose to scream and yell and maybe spank your 3-year-old. Or you could choose to realize, if I wouldn't have, if I would have gotten up when my 3-year-old was crying or trying to get me up earlier, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Or maybe she was just being a 3-year-old. They're curious. Maybe I shouldn't, have things that accessible. I mean, or perhaps, your teenager comes home from school and you find a joint or a cigarette in their bag, maybe their coat, because you were going to do laundry, but you were really checking their shit. Instead of screaming and yelling and having a big moment, maybe that's an opportunity for a conversation. Was I a smoker? Oh, yeah, I was a big smoker. Did I have a conversation with my child about the dangers of nicotine while I was smoking? Oh, yeah, I did. Did that make me a hypocrite? No. Because a child, their bodies, their lungs are still developing, whereas my ass was an adult and I can choose those things for myself. And those choices were wrong because I had asthma and couldn't breathe anyway. My daughter had asthma or breathing problems or something. Can't remember. I've slept since then. Give me a break. You know, or this can be controversial. So, tuck in here. I'm going to pack one for you. Basically, I have two choices, right? You know that your kid's going to a party. And as an adult, I mean, we've all went to parties when we were teenagers. And we all know what's going to happen at a party. There's going to be the opposite sex. We're like 15, 16 years old. There's going to be alcohol. Someone's going to get alcohol and bring it to that party. Now, are you going to let your child go to this party? Maybe, I mean, as young as 13, there can be alcohol at parties. Parties I went to, there was beer and other types of entertainment. Or are you going to talk to your kid and say, hey, I know there's going to be beer at this party because let's face it, there's always alcohol at these parties. I really don't think you should drink. You're not old enough. Your body's not equipped. However, if you really think you need to drink or you want to try drinking, I'd rather you try it at home. That way, if something bad happens, I can take care of you. Now, I'm not saying drink a beer. I'm just like, take a drink. I mean, I didn't really start drinking until I was 17. Yes, I know that's controversial. And come for me if you want to. But in this day and age, kids start out uh, smoking marijuana very young. I mean, 10, 11, 12. And they can tell you more about the different ways to ingest marijuana besides eating it, smoking it, the different ways to inhale it. I mean, I didn't even know what a one hitter was until someone had to explain it to me when I was like 8 years ago. I was like, a what? Your kids know more about sex at 12 years old than you will ever know. They know about how to do it, what positions to do it in. They know more about different types of sex that does not require penetration than we could possibly imagine. Things that we would probably be like, as an adult, we would probably like, oh, that's disgusting. And we sure don't want to hear it from our kids. Explain it to us. We're like, oh, let me Google that. Oh, please, please, dear Jesus. Please, dear Jesus, don't Google it. Ask another adult. Don't ask your kid. Ask your husband. Maybe he'll know if you have a husband or boyfriend or girlfriend, partner, work friend, people that aren't going to be like, you have issues. This video was supposed to be 5 minutes long. Can you believe that I'm an introvert? But you put a camera on me, and I'm like, chatting. Okay, so let's wrap this up, shall we? A, I'm going to keep this channel alive. B, I'm very talkative, but I will try to keep on point. I will try to post. Did you just see that go across the top there? That was just a freaky damn thing. I think that was Marty's ghost making an appearance. That was weird. Kind of freaked out right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take off my glasses so I don't see any more shit. Now I'm blind. Ah! And you can see I have no bar brush. So, I'm gonna try and post more often than Marty did. I'm only gonna post when I have a good topic that I know that is going to be helpful. So I think my next video that I want to do is going to be over grief and the stages of the hearing. That I know a lot about. In my previous life, I was a certified nurse's assistant and a restorative nurse's assistant, which means that I worked in therapy, rehabbing clients from the geriatric perspective after they were released from physical and occupational rehab. My clients or patients slash residents were long-term residents in a nursing home or a nursing facility. And so basically what my job was to keep the therapies that were set upon the client going so they could keep their level of mobility. Generally, they would get on therapies if they were new to the facility and had like broken legs, broken hips, broken arms, contractures. They needed to get more mobility or needed more range of motion. So after, the high paid therapists who made the big bucks were done with them, I would get them in our program. And then I would work them out. Sometimes my clients loved me. And then there was some that called me an evil Nazi bitch or a exercise Nazi. And because I'm part Jewish, I didn't find that funny. And I still don't find it funny. I don't even like that word. That word to me is like the N word to black people. So that would be the N word to Jewish people. So anyway, thank you for listening to me today. I appreciate it. Probably going to cut this video way down. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of our lives. Thank you for your comments and your love for Marty. Thank you for making the last 2.5, 3 years of his life so meaningful, giving him more purpose than he had. Someone had said to me once, and I used to say this all the time to people, and I thought it was very, and I thought it was very, smart thing to say, that, that it was God's will, um, that everything happens for a reason, that it was just, God was, it was just, God wanted to, whatever. I said that to a man who was a good family friend, and he had lost his wife to brain cancer, and she suffered a long time. I think she had 2 surgeries. She raised her granddaughter, or at least she tried, and but I mean, she really suffered over like 20, 22 years, which in turn made her husband suffer, and her child and her grandchild. Anyway, I feel, and I had said that to him, everything happens for a reason. It was just their time. Well, this man who is about 20 years my senior quickly corrected me. I felt like this. And he said to me, I don't believe that. I don't believe that God had decided that my wife should, suffer with cancer for 20 years. And I couldn't say, sorry, or I just like, I'll shut up now. I have always been told by everyone that how smart I was and how intelligent I was, and I should have went to a 4-year college and got my master's degree in nursing and education. And at that point, I felt like I had no brains in my head, and I know that there is a logical reason for this happening above me, but I have no idea. And if you know what it is, don't tell me because I just want to entertain the thought. Anyway, you know, I felt like I had no brains in my head. None. I was literally stupid, and that I should not speak to men anymore. Also, there's that. Anyway, thank you. I will see you soon, and I promise we will be talking about more depressing things. Maybe a little depressing, but I always try to infuse a little bit of humor into everything, because life without humor is death. Much love to all of you. And just in case you forgot, I'm Lynette. Till next time. Bye.